so many. From the office, they know whether the person is overspeeding or not. The moment you go beyond the speed limit, they will call your attention. If you don't listen, the next time they drop you as a driver. That is what the petroleum industry should also do in Nigeria. If we're able to deploy technology to monitor the drivers of those heavy trucks loaded with petroleum products, I think this incident will be minimized.
All right. The Nigerian Ports Authority in Onne Port Harcourt complex said it has received a big vessel, Kota Sempaka, with 566 containers. Announcing the development in a statement on Saturday, the management of NPA said the vessel, sailing under the flag of Singapore, has a length overall of 300 meters. It added that the successful berthing of the vessel demonstrated the agency's capacity and readiness for large ship calls. The managing director of the NPA, Mohammed Bello Koko, said, "This is a confirmation of the capacity and readiness of the eastern ports for vessel traffic. This also shows that our investments in channel navigability and security are yielding results. We will sustain our advocacy for the patronage of the eastern ports." Situated on the Bonny River estuary along Ogo Creek in River State, Onne Port Complex is the first port of its kind in Nigeria that operated the landlord ports model devised to encourage private sector participation in the port industry. Now, sir, this is quite a great news and a welcome development, I must say. What are your thoughts on how wonderful it would be for the future of our IGR and the economic ecosystem, the growth of the economic ecosystem here in River State?
The Onne Ports was built in 1982. As at that time, it was the largest deep sea port in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I don't know at what point, the Nigerian Ports Authority began to engage in a systematic way of underdeveloping Onne Ports. I think there is a conspiracy somewhere. Anytime I think about it, I think there must be a conspiracy somewhere. Now, until 1995, Onne was the biggest port. And because it was a deep sea port, the depth of the port was about 12 meters deep. But now they have reduced it to about 8 meters, which means that it can accommodate so many very big vessels. We know the challenges facing the Ports Authority in Nigeria, but Onne was actually created, it was established to accommodate as many vessels as possible. This vessel from Singapore should not be an exception. It should be the beginning. And for me, River State government, where the port is situated, should go beyond this to negotiate with the Nigerian Ports Authority and the people there to ensure that most of the vessels coming in should use our port. Now, come to think of it, Calabar Port was built in 1977, Tinkan Island 1979, which is about the biggest port now, apart from the Lekki Deep Sea Port, which is owned by China. It was Chinese money they used in constructing it. Now, but Onne Ports was supposed to be the fastest growing port in Nigeria. But something happened somewhere along the line. Militancy. When this militancy issue came up, I don't know who really sponsored it. The storyline was that, Onne is in Port Harcourt, militancy is taking place here. Why can't we divert all our cargo ships to Lagos? That was where the rain began to beat us in River State. Now that militancy is a thing of the past, the federal government should be able to revisit the issue of using Onne as as a primary destination of those vessels coming into Nigeria. That place in the 80s, in the late 80s, was booming. So many jobs were created. The customs was collecting a lot of money. I know I used to have a cousin, his late now, was a crane operator there. And if you look at where the port is seated, the hectares of land, is one of the biggest ports in Nigeria. And it was, established to accommodate very big, deep vessels. So I expect the state government now, because revenues collected here, part of the revenue will also drop here. Yeah. We'll rub off on the IGR of River State. I know that ports are owned by, ports are in the exclusive list, yes, yeah. Which will be controlled by only the federal government. But the mere fact that the local, where the port is situated, also derives a lot of benefits by way of casual jobs. River State youths can go there, get casual jobs to do at the ports. If these vessels are coming frequently, some of these casual workers actually get enough money to feed themselves and their families, you see. So that is another way of easing the unemployment burden from the state. Now, for those who know, in 2021, the Onne ports alone generated about 189 billion naira in 2021. So if that was a year that people did not make too much use of the ports, so if they are regularly, if they are not diverting vessels to Lagos, look at it, the Calabar port is almost gone. Calabar port is gone. So what is left? Onne port is there to accommodate so many vessels. So why not? Militancy does not exist again. So why not go back to the the drawing board and bring in, because the ports as it were serves not only the south, it serves both the south, the southeast, and part of the southwest.
Yes, yes. Now, what can the federal government do to revamp and make these ports working again? The Calabar ports, the South port, the Onne ports. How can the federal government make this, maintain it?
Number one is dredging. You need to dredge. There's what we call silting in the river. If you allow the river to, if vessels do not ply the river for a long time, you see a lot of sand gathering, thereby making it difficult for big vessels to have access to the harbors and so on. So dredging is one of them. You have to dredge. The federal government needs to dredge those ports to ensure that originally they were, established to accommodate those vehicles, those vessels.
Yes.
But because they have been lying fallow for a long time, there is need to dredge those places. Then the second one is policy. It is policy that drives all those places. If you say, look, any cargo ship that is coming into Nigeria of XYZ tons should come to Calabar ports. It's a policy. They will obey. Our customers who are investing in Nigeria, those who are into shipping from Netherlands to Malaysia to Singapore, they will obey. And they will bring their vessels to Calabar or Port Harcourt. So it's a matter of policy. One, dredge those ports, revamp those things that are necessary for navigation, even in the night, and thereafter make a policy concerning the usability and revamping of these ports. The Calabar port is also a big one. That of Onne, of course, is the fastest growing port in Nigeria. We don't need to concentrate everything in Lagos, for God's sake. Lagos is already a congested city. We need to decentralize the Nigerian Ports Authority to ensure that most of the vehicles come to the south, where we have a natural environment. There are rivers everywhere, ocean, the Bonny Ocean is there, that's where they come. They come into Port Harcourt. So once we do that, then there is also need for PPP, public-private partnership. We have partners who are in this business, who are importing and so on. Meet with NASIMA, the Chambers of Commerce, meet the import group, import and export group, they all have unions, meet with them, and they will see reasons. Igbos are really suffering, but Igbos import, they export and import a lot. And, you know, bringing everything through Lagos is too cumbersome for them. So it will be better for us to use on ports and Calabar ports. I know that some ports, they are making moves to ensure that some new ports are built somewhere in Anambra or somewhere. I don't know of that yet. But these are ports that have been in existence. Calabar Port, 1977. The same Warri Port, 1979. Warri Port is lying fallow. So if we're able to use on airports, the Calabar Port and Warri Port, we are ready to go. It's very important.
All right. Okay, the conversation will continue shortly. Right now we have to go on a break. It is Atn Sunday.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Atn Sunday. Continuing conversation, aggrieved refugees of the Okwama Ewu community, Ugeli South local government area, dislocated in the aftermath of the incursion and occupation of the settlement by the army over the March 14 killing of 17 military personnel, expressed more sorrows in the forest yesterday, vowing to return to their homeland regardless of the military siege by next Saturday. The Farmish residents implored the state's governor, Honorable Sheriff Obovori, to return them to their hometown on or before next Saturday, or they would return en masse and let the army kill them. However, a reliable government source said the Okwama Ewu is a small community for the management committee of the IDP camp to rebuild the place. It has to move them to a safer place. It cannot be in the bush. There is a process in place. The army is still occupying Okwama, and the government will get them to leave, and the governor is handling that. But when the governor, Honorable Obovori, visited Okwama and saw the ruins, he gave directives on what to do, so the people should calm down and cooperate with the management committee. Sir, what is your take on this? This is quite a very sad situation.
It is.
That the people are reporting from the forest till today. It's been since 17th March, and today is the 28th of April.
It's about 40 days now.
40 days in the bush, running away from military takeover.
It's really
of their own land. This is no longer justice. This is now a situation of the use of power for intimidation, harassment, and it is really unfair that the state government is not doing quite enough for these people who have been displaced. And this statement saying that the Okwama is too small for an IDP camp to be constructed is quite, it doesn't quite sit well, because these are lives, and these lives should be important no matter how small they are. What do you think about this, sir?
If it is true that the governor of Delta State made a statement like that, it's really unfortunate. It does not tell well of a leader at that level. You know, we know what really happened there. You know that the ordinary Okwama citizens were not involved in all those killings and so on. Well, it's unfortunate that soldiers were killed. It's unfortunate that this thing has happened. But you cannot, because of the death of 17 soldiers, some are high ranking anyway, begin to destroy everything, including killing of all the people. Certainly, see, there are some principles of war, even at the international level. Even if you are fighting a war, number one, proportionality. You don't have to go and kill everybody. Number two, discrimination. Whoever has done this deed, it's not the ordinary women and children that killed the soldiers. So if you are fighting civilians, I know that if that killing was executed by some military, they must be small young boys with arms and ammunition. So I expected the military to go after those people and not to kill innocent civilians in Okwama. And come to think of it, how can the governor say during the flood period in 2022, yes, in 2022, even small hamlets, IDP camps were provided for them. So I don't know what it means by the community is too small, so we cannot build an IDP camp. IDP camp should be built to feed the people, to provide medication for the women and children. Only God knows how many women might have given birth in the bush,
in the forest.
In that thick forest. Only God knows how many people that have been bitten by some of these fiery serpents in the bush. So I mean, this is the climax of inhumanity. For me, it's not fair. The Nigerian army is not this is Nigeria. If something happens in Nigeria, you are not fighting an external aggressors. No. So being civil, as a military man, being civil, your ability to maintain civility in containing crisis and conflict in such areas is one of the hallmarks of a civilized army. But if you are not doing that, it's a pity that they have committed all these atrocities. It is high time the Okwama people came back to settle in their hometown. If for 40 days, the military with all their intelligence, all the intelligence gathering, all the ICT gadgets, all the intelligence at their disposal, cannot identify those who committed the atrocities, I don't think they are fair to the ordinary citizens of Okwama, that the women and the children and everybody, elderly, should still remain in the bush. They never committed any crime. So it is inhuman. And the federal government should, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should take a second look at it and give instruction to the military high command to ensure that the military should leave that place and allow the police, which is a civil force, to come and do their investigation. If the military cannot conduct investigation, the police, of course the police is trained to investigate, so they should bring in the police, not as another army of invasion, but to live among the people to find out what is really happening. In any case, in that kind of matter, 40 days after the killings, the killers, those who executed that dastardly assignment, will not be around there. Some might even run to neighboring countries. That is what we know. Cameroon is very close. Our borders are porous. The northern borders are porous. The southern borders are porous. Our border with Cameroon is free. People can walk in and walk out. So Okwama has suffered. The women and children, I really weep for them. It is high time government took a decision to ensure that the military they should stop occupying that particular place. Bring in the civilians, bring in the police to, investigate. If there's any, but in any case, even the king of Okwama has been returned.
Yes.
Yes. Which means that the king might have divulged certain information that has proved his innocence. So if the king of Okwama himself, who is the #1 citizen, has been returned to his throne in Okwama, I mean, government should do everything within its powers to ensure that other citizens of Okwama are allowed to come and settle without any military intimidation or victimization.
You have heard it. The government of Delta State should take heed to this advice. All right. The Anambra State Commissioner of Police, CP Aderemi Adeoye, on Saturday bowed out of service after 35 years of service and 10 months of leading the State Police Command. During the ceremonial pull-out parade of the CP held at the Ekweme Square, Oka, on Saturday, Adeoye noted that he had been at the various police units and performed well, adding that he had served many police commissioners. He added that he was fully prepared for the job when he assumed office, which was why he was able to tackle the security challenges in Anambra, reducing them to the barest minimum. Also speaking during the ceremony, the State Deputy Governor, Dr. Onyeka Ibezim, who represented the Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, commended the retiring CP for his efforts at reducing insecurity in the state. Do you agree that the retiring CP has done a good job in tackling crimes and tackling Anambra security challenges and reducing them to the barest?
Well, I would not know the personal dossier of the retired Commissioner of Police, but I know one thing for sure, that policing in Nigeria is a very hectic job, very, very hectic. Even at the level of a commissioner, the governor can call upon you by 3 a.m., by 12 midnight, and so on. And if anything happens in a state, even if there is a effective control at the police headquarters, if there is any incident of killing or crisis, it is the police commissioner that bears the brunt. So it is not an easy job. In any case, if a policeman has served for 35 years without blemish, he has every reason to thank God, because policing is a very difficult job in Nigeria, especially when there are challenges like, demotivation. The police force is demotivated, and that leads to, bribery and corruption in most cases. And the police does a lot of work. Some are really doing well in terms of investigation, but some people are there, some DPOs are just there to do what is the flip side of civilized policing. The flip side of civilized policing. That is, they don't investigate, they act as punitive agents. You report a matter to them, they tell the person to crawl, you handcuff the person in a matter which ordinarily would just require invitation. You go with an army of policemen, 20 policemen, just to arrest somebody who is accused of stealing granules. But those who are committing heinous crimes, sponsoring terrorism or banditry and so on, are not so treated. So I would not know how much he has done, but at least the state government is also represented at the ceremony. And that is an indication that whether we like it or not, he has put in his best. My advice to the Nigerian police force is very simple. When you have very fine officers, even at retirement, they have not lost their utility. Yes, you can still use them. There are so many commissions. The Police Service Commission is there that is in charge of recruitment and discipline of police officers. There are those top-ranking officers who have, served the country meritoriously. Those people can still be redeployed. They can re-engage them and send them to strategic areas where they know they have their specialization.
In this case, Adeoye wants to go into business.
He's going into business because nobody has engaged him.
Okay.
It's like some university lecturers in the ivory towers. When a professor has done so well and he leaves office, he does his valedictory address and he leaves. University, the department will say, Baba, no, we cannot leave you alone. Come back. They will engage the person as a contract teacher for as many times as the person can deliver his lectures. So it's like that. So I advise the police force, that is what is practiced in Japan. In Japan, when a university professor is 70, 75 and he leaves, they will take him to another community entirely where they will function as thinkers. They will visualize, practicing yoga, practicing Shinto religion, bringing down those finer things in the infinite to reality for the young boys who construct and so on, for the young boys who manufacture and fabricate. So that is what the Jukus do. There are some schools, they are like our polytechnics. They are owned by both private and public sector persons. So they come together, fund those people. They are put in a separate, everything they needed is provided for them. And that is why Japanese technology is top notch, especially when it comes to automobile. In America is populated by Japanese vehicles because the American vehicles are not fuel efficient. But go to Japan, the Toyota group, they are very fuel efficient. So the Nigerian Police High Command should take note of this. If there are policemen who have served the nation meritoriously, don't abandon them to go and do business like he has said. They should not just go and do business. They can be re-engaged to render services to the system, to curb crime, to investigate. In fact, much of what the military is doing in terms of tackling banditry. In some countries, the investigation could have been done by the police, because the police force lives with the people.
Yes.
They live with the policemen live with the citizens, the ordinary citizens. They rent apartments among the people. They live with them. They know the internal contradictions of some of these communities. They know the solutions to some of those problems. So in other countries, the policemen will be used to investigate those who are involved in this thing. It is not tackling insurgency, or it is not about throwing bomb. It's not all the time bomb, no. So they should use, I don't think they should allow this man to go and do business, import and export. He's an Igbo man. Is he an Igbo man?
No, he's Yoruba.
He might have seen the benefits of trading. Doing business brings money. But is money all the reason we are living for? I don't think so. So he's still very useful to the system. That's what I would say.
All right. Complication from measles is suspected to have killed at least 19 children in Mubi North local government area of Adamawa. Commissioner for Health, Mr. Felix Tangwami, told the newsmen in Mubi on Saturday that more than 200 children in the local government area were already infected. He said the outbreak was reported in Yola on Saturday, leading to a quick mobilization of medics and drugs to the affected communities. He assured that children with severe infections would be referred to hospitals. Tangwami blamed the refusal of parents to immunize their children for the outbreak. Now, sir, what proactive measures can be taken to curb cases like this from reoccurring in Adamawa State? Because we have a lot of these outbreaks in the north, but now it's measles. Measles is something that should not even be spoken about, because there's been a lot of immunization for measles for children right from when they are born in hospitals. So why do we still have these sort of complications, especially with measles? It's not like it's a new disease. This is measles we're speaking about.
As we can see, measles affects children mostly.
Yes.
Children. And some years back, the former president of America, it's about 1900 now, Jimmy Carter also came here with his foundation to tackle a lot of water-related problems. Now, measles is something ordinarily we should not even think about at this time of our civilization. But, if you want to speak to the health care system, in Nigeria we have 774 local government areas. Ordinarily, every ward, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, yes, of the world, every ward, at least every ward should have a cottage hospital. Every ward in a local government should have one cottage hospital. In most cases, whereas these cottage hospitals may exist, when you go to them, you don't see drugs. In most cases, you don't see doctors. There are so many hospitals in the rural areas that do not have doctors. Nurses and some auxiliary health personnel have now taken over the function of doctors. It is a commonplace to see somebody managing a local pharmacist, a local chemist, to be called doctor, because she administers injections, some drugs. She gives people Andrew liver salt. She gives them tetracycline, Panadol, and so on. So the community will come together and recognize such a person as their doctor. So most of the time, even when doctors are deployed to the rural areas, because those areas do not have social amenities at pass, they will resist by going to look for an alternative route to post themselves back to the cities. Yes. So as a matter of urgency, the state government, we should revisit our healthcare policy in Nigeria. In the 80s, I think in the 80s and early 90s, maybe 1990s, and other people who specialize in internal medicine, in these boats, and they will travel from here to Bonny, from Bonny to Opobo, from Opobo. When they come there, you have a problem of hernia, they do the operation. When you have problem of appendicitis, they do the operation. They give you the necessary medication, they move to another. If your situation is critical, they will keep you in that hospital. All these things happened in Rivers State before now, before Bayelsa State was created. So the question is, what is really happening now at the national level? Some people go especially primary healthcare. Our main problem is not tertiary healthcare. No. Our problem, do you know that so many children still die of malaria? So many women die of malaria and typhoid in Nigeria? And we are sitting down and clapping for our governors, clapping for our local government chairman. As for the local government chairman, in most states, the state governors have hijacked all their responsibilities because they don't want to give them money. And again, let me say this. A nation that does not create autonomy for local government chairmen are postponing the doomsday, because about 70 to 75% of disease burden is in the rural areas. So many, that is why you see infant mortality still very rife in our rural areas, maternal mortality, maternal morbidity still very rife in the rural areas. It is not in the cities that these things happen. So empowering the local government chairman, giving them money to set up and equip these cottage hospitals is primary health care is under the local government, not the state government. Primary secondary school, primary school is also under the local government. But how well equipped are the local government chairmen to tackle these challenges? And this is why I want to call on the federal government once more to revisit the issue of local government autonomy. If the National Assembly, if the legislature can be autonomous, if the executive is autonomous, why can't you make the local government level, which is the closest level of government to the people, autonomous, so that the chairman, when we were in the secondary school,
we will come to that. The
local governments even give bursary to students in the universities.
Yes, we're going to come to that conversation later on this segment. But true, there's a lot that needs to be done, indeed, when it comes to the healthcare in the local government areas to avoid outbreaks like this. Outbreaks like measles complications, it should not be heard of in a country like Nigeria, looking at how much AIDS and amount of healthcare personnel we have. We have many great healthcare personnel in this country, especially in the north. So it's very sad to have occurrences like this. Having said that, remember the talk is for development. We're going to go on a short break, and when we are back, the conversation on Atlantic Television Network Sunday's edition will continue.
Every day our lives are changed by
Welcome back. The National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control has sealed 50 outlets in Kaduna State for selling edible hygienic conditions. The operation was set to be part of a sensitization workshop for dealers focusing on registration procedures and food management. The director, Northwestern, Mrs. Josephine Dayilim, highlighted the dangers of consuming oil processed in unsanitary environments, emphasizing the risks of food poisoning, gastroenteritis, and even cancer due to inadequate processing and corrosive equipment. Now, instead of sealing these outlets, could there not have been better ways to correct this hygiene blunder, you know, of within the 50 outlets in Kaduna State? Don't you think?
During the time of Dora Akunyili, may her soul rest in peace, you know, she was very proactive. She even stepped on toes. Those who were importing counterfeit and fake drugs, manufacturing counterfeit and fake drugs, we know the problem she faced. Now, if you look at all the kiosks, you see this pure water, NAFDAC approved, stamped on all of them. So we live in a country where we don't have even the database to know who is doing what. That's in the first place. If you go to NAFDAC today and say, look, how many oil mills do we have in a state? NAFDAC, I am not sure NAFDAC can give an accurate account of how many people that are milling oil. If you go to NAFDAC to ask them a question, how many people are into gin distillation or producing alcoholic beverages? Because so many of these sachet drinks and so on are produced at our backyard. So they cannot give account. Now, concerning the sealing of those outlets, I think I have to give them a thumbs up, because in Nigeria, people don't obey rules and regulations. NAFDAC is there to regulate everything. But even within NAFDAC itself, there are some corrupt officials that compromise their standards. NAFDAC can go into test whatever they are producing. But in the first place, do they have the equipment to carry out the test? So it is both ways. While we are blaming those who are producing oil in unsanitary environmental conditions, we are also talking about the effectiveness of NAFDAC in curbing, in taking proactive measures to ensure that in the first place does not happen. Our markets are saturated with fake, so many things are fake. Even granite oil, there are fake granite oil you have in our markets. Fake oil is everywhere. So the question is, why is not it? Part of the problem boils down to funding of NAFDAC. You see them moving around. These days you see NAFDAC people and the health, there is a particular unit or department of every state where the health, we call them sanitary inspectors and so on, they go around. But when they go around, what do? They go around, they don't look at your shop. They don't look at how hygienic what you are selling is. They don't look at the environment you are applying your trade. What they do is, Yemeko, give me small money. As you pay them money, they go. And they give you a receipt and certify that you are doing well. So, I expect NAFDAC to recruit. One problem they have is that they have not recruited enough personnel to do the job. So there should be a synergy between NAFDAC and the state health ministry. That health ministry, there are three, it's going to be a three-pronged approach. You have NAFDAC on top, at the left you have the Ministry of Health, at the right you have the Ministry of Environment. By the time there is a synergy, a working synergy between NAFDAC and the Ministry of Health and between the Minister of Health and the Minister of Environment, they will achieve greater results. So a collaborative approach is what they will adopt. NAFDAC alone does not know the corners, the backyards where they are producing this rubbish for us. Even Maltina, some years back, was it 2021 or so, a group of people were caught producing Maltina in one dirty place in Port Harcourt. And they have the sealing machine. So what they do is they go around, pick all the bottles, pick all the cans, and there's something they do, make them look new, and before you know it, they have put all manner of things and they seal them.
But 50 outlets are 50 businesses. So do you not think that this would in some way, this would in some way have some sort of impact in the economy of Kaduna State? Don't you think there'll be economic implications of sealing 50 businesses, which...
I expected them to now do what? To test the quality of oil they have. If it is so bad that human beings cannot consume, if they test it, then they should locate the source. Who are those people mixing this rubbish to sell as palm oil? So until you get the source, you cannot afford it. She died. All of us wept, and they went to bury her. The human being. It is bad. So that collaboration is what NAFDAC needs to be able to be proactive in regulating the production of oil, including palm oil and granite oil, alcoholic beverages. So by the time they collaborate, they will achieve better results.
All right. Olajide lamented the situation where only few people come out to vote during local government polls. He urged Nigerians to attach importance to local government election the way they usually do during West Federal Constituency, as the National Assembly spoke shortly after casting his vote in the ongoing Oyo State local government election. Now, sir, do you agree that there's a lot of apathy going on in the local government elections compared to other elections in the country?
Well, some people, I'm even thinking, look at Port Harcourt. Here we are in Obiakwa local government. There are so many roads that have little potholes. In those days, we used to see local government chairmen walk around the roads and ensure that they patch those filled portions. But today, everybody is talking about the state governor, the state governor, the state governor. Even to patch a little pothole, you call on for the state. And people, apart from that, when they are given money directly from the federation account, civil society will also galvanize to ensure that that money is judiciously spent. Then people can now revamp their belief and their hope in the local government system. But for now, look at it, how many weeks ago, in Bayelsa State, there was what they call local government election. The local government election did not really happen. The governor just met with stakeholders and anointed some candidates. Yes, it's a PDP state. They just government. I used to know some of them. I did not see any local government chairman even embarking on borehole project. They were not. They were like houseboys who carried out the bidding of the governor at that time, on that weekend. Now Fubara is trying to change it.
But in this case, funds have been withheld. We have local government chairmen who do not have funds who have not been given funds, who have not been allowed to use the funds.
For how long, if I may say?
And now the Federal High Court in Abuja has...
funds.
Yes.
Are you aware that these local government chairmen are leaving very soon? You see, like if you are a governor and you apply for a loan and you are going to court, The law court is not a place to ever resolve issues pertaining to good governance.
72 local government areas. Funds withheld.
72.
Yes, in River State.
No, they are not. No, it means 7 local governments.
No, 72. All 72 local government
areas they can, do. What areas they can specialize. For instance, primary healthcare is supposed to be their area.
True. So do you
primary, secondary schools.
Do you not think that they should be empowered enough to at least go through this process of being able, like in your own words, being able to patch the roads when they walk past it? Being able, do you not think that they need funds to be able to do this?
Most of the local government
without the interference of the state government.
I think I blame the federal government for it and the National Assembly. I think about 4 years ago, the issue of local government autonomy came up. State governors should not have anything to do with the money allocated to local government councils. The reason is that the local government chairmen are not elected, they are handpicked by the governors. If they were elected like the governors, they will now stand on their own and say, look, this is what I have to defend. But in this case, for instance, in River State, all the local government chairmen that will soon leave office, we are all having the new governor responsible. I will not blame the governor for now, because these people have less than 2 months. Is it June or so? Early June, they are leaving.
Okay, so are you
so they have only May.
Are you saying that the time, 2 months is not enough to make change?
It's not up to 2 months now. Very soon they will leave.
Let's say even 1 day is not enough to make any difference in the grassroots.
If they could not make any difference for 8 years, is it now that they will make a difference?
If funds were available to them.
Funds were not made available to them by Wike. Wike never took them, it did not take them seriously.
So because something is wrong, should it continue?
What I'm saying is this.
Or because something is what it is. Right?
How much are they withholding?
Does it matter?
Do we have any figures concerning? Because as far as I'm concerned, the Governor Fubara is a civil servant. He was a civil servant, and he understands the plight of civil servants, including workers at the local government level. You can see the actions he has started to take. Number one,
norms be accepted.
Well, it has. That is why we are pushing. We in the civil society, we are pushing. Remember, I'm the Director General of Etati. I have
yes. And remember, you're an activist for things that are great.
Yes.
That should be right.
Yes.
So should 40 norms be accepted?
I don't have the facts concerning monies that have been withheld.
Yeah, just speaking, should 40 norms be accepted?
40 norms cannot be accepted.
Great.
And that is why I'm calling your attention to the fact that Governor Fubara cannot withhold state.
Indeed.
Conducting, because RIFSEC, in Bayelsa, BISEC is in charge of conducting. RIFSEC is in charge of conducting. The election will be funded. The money is not coming from the federal government.
True.
It is the state government that will fund that election.
True.
So what we are saying is that when the federal government takes it upon itself to directly fund local government elections, that is when the local governments will be empowered to act or to do something. But in as much as you allow the state governors to fund local government elections, the local government chairmen and councillors will be handpicked. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. But
so ab initio, because the beginning of everything is election. If you handpick the way Wiki handpicked so many, almost all of them, all the local government chairmen, including the lawmakers, they were handpicked and returned to the house. That is why they are giving Fubara a lot of headache.
That is again, that is not the conversation.
But they are related. Earmarked for the local councils.
All right. That being said, remember the talk is for development, and whatever the law has said, whatever the Constitution has said, should be stood by, should be upheld. We have to be a lawful country. We cannot be lawless, and 40 norms should not be tolerated. The talk is for development, and change is what we push for right here.
Yes.
All right, let's go on a short break, and when we are back, the conversation on Atn Sunday continues. Dr. John.
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
snatch.
Welcome back. Chief of Defense Staff, tribe or religion to unite and fight Nigeria's common enemies. Speaking at the second edition of Unity Schools, old students noted that sports is a unifying factor that unites people and stressed the need for Nigerians to foster peace and promote national unity. He also called on Nigerians to continue to promote Nigeria's diversity for national development. President General of USOSA, Mr. Michael Magaji, called on Nigerians' serious diversity as a way of adding value to national.
The northwest of Nigeria has been embroiled in banditry, especially banditry. Terrorism of the banditry variety. You know, Nigeria provides electricity for them too. But I'm told that recently they have started building their dam. Maybe very soon, when their dam is completed, that component of assistance will stop. I don't know. So our relationship with those nations around us, the contiguous states, the countries that have boundaries with us, is one of the problems. There is the movement of, proliferation of light weapons everywhere, both from the Atlantic Ocean. Between those, one of the reasons the community people are afraid of disclosing such problems to them is because when they come for military operations, they just bomb everybody. Whether you are a civilian, whether you are a bandit, everybody dies. So the ordinary civilians are so scared When they see the military coming, they run away. Instead of giving them useful information, they now see the military men as their enemies. You are told that Kaduna State,
crashed,
where they mistakenly bombed, no, they mistakenly bombed civilians, thinking that they were bandits. So that is crass. That Kaduna incident tells you that the military people are not operating. Because if you are doing your surveillance, you'll be able to know that the judicial review, the constitutional review committee should factor in judicial reforms. We are in a nation where unemployment is mounting every day. Yesterday, there was a convocation ceremony in Ignatius Ajuru University of Education. The other day, there was convocation in University of Port Harcourt. The universities are turning out so many graduates. And when they come, there are no job opportunities. More and more, it's like when there is a population bulge, there is serious rise in population without commensurate social amenities, without jobs for these people. Then they will be lured by all these drug addicts, those who sponsor the bandits, and before you know it, they will serve them, give them money, serve them with a cocktail of drugs. Do you think the bandits even know what they are doing? Most of them are high on drugs. So empowering the community, empowering the youth is also fundamental if we are going to tackle the issue of banditry and terrorism. A good number of those who are doing that job are between 18 to maybe 40. You can hardly see somebody who is 50, 60, engaged in that kind of act. They are the youthful, they are now misdirecting the youthful energy they have. Energy they should use in creativity. Energy they should use in innovation. It's now being deployed to do things that are unedifying. Kidnapping, stealing, burning, raping, and so on and so forth. Then, another thing the military establishment should do is collaboration. The armed forces, made up of the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force. The Army should not just go there and say, oh, we are bombing these people. Or the Air Force should not go there, we are bombing these people. No. There should be so they will be able to identify, not 100%, but the operations will be at least 70 to 80% more accurate than they are handling it now. Carrying out military operations alone cannot solve the problem. Provide jobs for these youths. So many youths are engaging those unedifying activities because of joblessness. The average Nigerian mentality is when you leave the university, you should have a little job to do to earn a living even before you bifurcate either into a business or into somebody came to him and gave him 1 million naira. That this is what I want you to do. If he's not a strong young man, he will be, he will be lured into such an activity. So empowering the youth is very important. Creating job opportunities is okay. Military operations alone cannot solve this problem. Intelligence has a lot to do with, finding out, identifying those who are involved in it. In some cases, even when you identify them, it is not just good to because our laws are retributive in nature. Punish the offender. Don't rehabilitate.